If you exercise regularly, eat relatively clean, and still can't get rid of that stubborn belly fat, there's something you need to hear right now. The problem is not your calorie intake, and it's not a lack of discipline. It's your liver. This is the part almost no one talks about. In fact, studies show that up to 32% of people with a completely normal BMI, meaning they don't even look overweight, are already carrying dangerous fat deposits inside their liver. And the most concerning part is they have absolutely no idea. No pain, no clear symptoms, no warning signs. But that fat isn't just sitting there doing nothing. It's active, silent, but highly disruptive. It interferes with the hormonal signals your body depends on to burn fat and regulate energy. When your liver becomes congested with fat, your entire metabolic system begins to slow down, not just in the liver, but throughout your whole body. This is why so many people feel stuck. They're doing what they've been told is right, eating better, moving more, yet the results never seem to match the effort. Over the past 15 years, working in emergency medicine and metabolic health, I've seen this pattern over and over again. Patients coming in with type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, severe insulin resistance, and when you trace it back far enough, there's one common denominator that keeps showing up: the liver. Not just what people eat, not just how much they weigh, but whether their liver is actually capable of processing and managing energy properly. And here's where it gets even more important. A normal blood test does not mean your liver is healthy. You can have up to 30% of your liver already infiltrated with fat, while standard liver enzymes still appear completely normal. By the time those markers finally rise, the damage has often been building silently for years. But here's the part most people never hear, and it changes everything. Your liver is one of the most regenerative organs in your body. When given the right biological inputs, it can begin clearing out that stored fat far faster than most people expect. And some of the most powerful inputs come in the form of simple, everyday drinks. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 specific drinks that have been studied for their ability to directly target fat trapped inside liver cells. These aren't random wellness trends. They work by activating key metabolic pathways, turning fat burning back on, releasing stored fat, and improving how your entire body handles energy. And there's one in particular I've saved it for last, because it directly impacts a mechanism almost nobody talks about: how your liver actually exports fat out of the body. Before we get into it, if you're someone who values clear, science-based health information you can actually use, take 2 seconds to subscribe. It helps this kind of content reach more people who are struggling with the same hidden issue and don't even know it yet. Let's break this down in a way that actually makes sense. Think of your liver like a massive water filtration plant that supplies an entire city. Every single day, it receives a constant patach of raw input, everything you eat, every calorie, every nutrient. Its job is to process, filter, decide what to store, what to burn, and what to send out. Now imagine that filtration system slowly getting clogged. At first, nothing seems wrong. The plant is still running, water is still flowing. But behind the scenes, efficiency drops, pressure builds. The output becomes compromised. That's exactly what happens when fat starts accumulating inside your liver. It doesn't shut down overnight. It keeps working, just not correctly. Hormonal signals begin to misfire. Your liver becomes resistant to insulin, which means it keeps producing glucose even when your blood sugar is already high. At the same time, instead of exporting fat or burning it, it starts storing more triglycerides internally. And this is where it connects directly to your belly fat. A fatty liver disrupts leptin, signaling the hormone that tells your brain you've had enough to eat, so you don't feel satisfied the way you should. On top of that, it suppresses AMPK, the master metabolic switch responsible for turning on fat burning across your body. When AMPK goes quiet, fat burning slows everywhere, not just in your liver. So, what you're experiencing isn't a lack of effort. It's a system that's no longer responding the way it's supposed to. Your body isn't broken, but right now, it is locked. Now let's go one level deeper, because this is where everything starts to make sense. There are 3 core biological mechanisms happening inside your liver that determine whether your body burns fat or stores it. The first is AMPK, Think of this as your body's master fat-burning switch. When AMPK is active, your cells shift into energy-burning mode. Stored fat gets mobilized and used as fuel. But when AMPK is suppressed, which is exactly what happens in a fatty liver, that switch flips the other way. Your body slows down fat oxidation and starts prioritizing storage instead. Same diet, same activity level, completely different outcome. The second mechanism is something called de novo lipogenesis. This is where your liver literally creates new fat from scratch, even if you're not eating much fat at all. When insulin resistance and inflammation are present, this pathway becomes overactive. So even if you're cutting calories, your liver is still manufacturing and accumulating fat internally. This is one of the biggest reasons people hit frustrating plateaus. The third mechanism is fat export through bile. Your liver doesn't just burn fat, it also needs to package and ship it out. This process depends heavily on healthy bile production and flow. When bile becomes sluggish, which often happens as fat builds up, that export system slows down. Fat gets trapped inside the liver instead of being cleared. And this is the turning point. Because these three pathways are exactly where specific drinks can begin to intervene directly. Now, you might be wondering, does this actually work? Or is this just another health trend? Here's what the data shows. Green tea, particularly high in EGCG, has been consistently shown in clinical trials to reduce liver fat and improve liver enzyme markers like ALT and AST. This isn't theoretical, it's measurable change in liver function. Coffee is even more compelling. Large-scale meta-analyses involving hundreds of thousands of individuals have found that regular coffee consumption is associated with up to a 29% reduction in the risk of developing non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That's a significant protective effect from something millions already. Drink daily. Beetroot brings a different mechanism. Its high betaine content has been shown to reduce triglyceride accumulation inside the liver while also improving inflammation markers. In other words, it helps the liver both store less fat and function better. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has repeatedly demonstrated the ability to lower liver inflammation and reduce fat accumulation across multiple randomized controlled trials. And lemon, often overlooked, contains polyphenols that activate fat-burning pathways and support metabolic efficiency at the cellular level. This is not folk medicine. This is clinical, evidence-based biology. Now let's get into the part that actually creates change, the 5 drinks, ranked from underrated to most powerful. Number 5, dandelion root tea. This is one of the most overlooked tools for liver health. It works by stimulating bile production, which is essential for exporting fat out of the liver. No bile flow, no fat clearance. At the same time, it feeds beneficial gut bacteria that are directly linked to lower liver fat. 1 to 2 cups per day is enough, ideally after dinner when bile activity is naturally higher. And one mistake I see all the time people use dandelion leaves, you need the root. That's where the active compounds are. Number 4, beetroot juice. This works through a completely different pathway. Beets are rich in betaine, which supports methylation, a critical process your liver uses to package and export fat. It also improves blood flow, helping nutrients and oxygen reach liver cells more efficiently. The target is about 150 to 200 milliliters per day, but be careful, many store-bought versions are loaded with added sugar, which cancels the benefit. Number 3, turmeric, ginger, and lemon water. This is a powerful combination. Curcumin suppresses inflammatory signals like NF-κB. Ginger enhances anti-inflammatory effects. And lemon stimulates bile flow. Together, they create a strong metabolic signal to reduce liver fat. Drink it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. And this is critical, you must add black pepper. Without it, curcumin absorption is almost negligible. Number 2, black coffee. One of the most researched beverages for liver health. It reduces inflammation and slows down fat production inside the liver. 2 to 3 cups per day, no sugar. Adding sweeteners brings back the very mechanism you're trying to shut down. And number 1, matcha or green tea. This is the most powerful because of EGCG, a compound that directly activates AMPK, your body's fat-burning switch. 2 to 3 cups per day. Never use boiling water and add a bit of lemon to enhance absorption. The biggest mistake? Adding milk. It binds to the active compounds and dramatically reduces their effect. Now, knowing what to drink is only half the equation. How you use these matters just as much. Here's the protocol that actually makes this work. Start your morning with turmeric, ginger, and lemon water on an empty stomach. This primes bile flow and activates anti-inflammatory pathways before any food enters your system. Then, with or after your first meal, you can have your coffee or matcha. This is when your metabolism is naturally more active, allowing those compounds to amplify fat-burning signals. Midday is where beet juice fits best. This supports fat export and circulation during your active hours without interfering with your morning caffeine. Then in the evening, after dinner, dandelion root tea helps stimulate bile again, supporting your liver's ability to clear out fat while your body transitions into recovery mode. Now, 3 simple rules that determine whether this works or not. First, consistency. You need at least 6 to 8 weeks. These pathways don't change overnight, but when they shift measurably. Second, hydration. Every mechanism we've talked about depends on it. If you're dehydrated, nothing works at full capacity. Third, keep it simple. Don't mix everything randomly. Sequence matters. And just as important, avoid these common mistakes. Adding sugar or sweeteners cancels the entire effect. Quitting after 2 weeks means stopping right before results begin. Replacing real drinks with supplements removes the synergy your body depends on. And most importantly, thinking these drinks can override a poor diet. They can accelerate progress, but they cannot replace direction. So let's bring this all together in a way that actually matters for you. Fatty liver is not rare. It's not extreme. It's not something that only happens to people who are overweight or unhealthy. It's one of the most common and most overlooked drivers of stubborn belly fat, low energy, and metabolic dysfunction today. And now you understand why. It comes down to 3 core mechanisms. A suppressed AMPK pathway, your fat-burning system turned off. An overactive fat production pathway, your liver creating fat even when you're trying to lose it. And a blocked export system, where fat gets trapped because it can't be cleared efficiently. But here's the most important part. Your liver is not broken. It has not failed you. It simply hasn't been supported in the way it needs. The pathways we talked about, fat burning, fat export, metabolic regulation, they're all still there. In most cases, they've just been underactivated for years. And when you start giving your body the right signals, the right inputs, things can begin to shift much faster than you expect. That's why I want to give you something simple to start with. A 7-day challenge. Not 5 drinks. Not a complete overhaul. Just 2 things. 1 cup of matcha or green tea each day, and 1 glass of turmeric, ginger, and lemon water every morning. That's it. Because this isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about creating momentum, letting your body begin to respond again. And once you feel that shift, better energy, less bloating, clearer signals from your body, you build from there. Small changes create real biological impact. And over time, those small changes lead to something much bigger. If this gave you a new way of understanding what's been holding you back, not just what to do, but why it works, then take 2 seconds to subscribe. It helps this kind of science-based information reach more people who are still stuck, still trying, and still not getting answers. And if you know someone who's been struggling with weight that just won't move despite doing everything right, share this with them. Because sometimes the problem isn't effort, it's direction. I'll see you in the next video.